This is TERcets, a literary podcast by the Ekphrastic Review. We have the most and the best writing inspired by art. I'm your host, Brian Sammons. Thanks for joining us again. This is episode 2 of TERcets. In this episode, I'll read 3 poems by 3 poets, all inspired by the art and life of Frida Kahlo. All of the writing you'll hear at TERcets, along with the art that inspired it, can be found at the website of the Ekphrastic Review at ekphrastic.net. For those listeners who may not know who Frida Kahlo was, shame on you. But okay, seriously, she is possibly Mexico's most famous artist. In fact, you've probably seen one of her self-portraits before. Just Google her, you'll see. I don't want to go into any biographical detail here. You can find that easily enough on your own. But I will say that her effect on art and popular culture in general was tremendous. She's inspired so many people with her unique approach to painting, especially her self-portraits, and with her personal style and clothing, her political and social philosophies, and even, as we'll see in a little bit, with the garden she kept at her home in Mexico called La Casa Azul, or the Blue House. But let's move on to our writers. First up, Jonathan Younkins. Jonathan is a Los Angeles-based writer and photographer with an MFA from California State University in Long Beach. His work has appeared in San Pedro Poetry Review, Synchronicity, West Texas Literary Review, and other publications. His second poetry chapbook, Beneath a Glazed Shimmer, won the 2019 Clockwise Chapbook Prize and is upcoming from Tebet Publishing. The Dream by Jonathan Younkins. Frida sleeps, and the blanket greens around her. Tendrils stretch to body warmth along a train of roots that would wander regardless of ground, yet keep their place within themselves. Such is Frida's way, the ways of fire and heart, the way of leaf's fire in dreaming's coolness, for blood boils hottest in an iron pot, left at night while thoughts steep, covered over a low fire. The skeleton lounging in the canopy above her watches her and knows well what is cooking, for they have often tasted of this brew together and dipped her brush in it, tracing blank canvas with chrome yellow, scarlet, magenta, blooms spreading through the skeleton's gapped ribs to decorate his breastbone. Roots beneath them stretch and dig, as they would in earth, sage electric in its urge to blossom, as if to caress dynamite in explosive growth. The neediness, firm and cavernous as the air pockets in bones, pours in purple, liquid as paint, across hillsides, and lets Frida breathe deep and untroubled. A world uncovered far from the yellow blanket and mahogany four-poster, yet fully one with it in the breeze that grazes her slumbering cheek, and guarded by eyeless sockets that know all. The fullness of night where the skeleton's eyes would turn and focus, while tamarind teases its faint sharpness, simmering beneath a pot lid, accompanied by a mineral tang suggesting blood, that will loop and whirl onto canvas after dawn. Next, Sarah Antine. Sarah is the director of the Deborah Lerner Gross Jewish Cultural Arts Center and is a teaching artist who uses a wide variety of mediums to integrate arts into the classroom. She received her MFA from Hunter College in 2004 and has published her poetry in the anthology Torah, A Woman's Commentary, the Journal, Big City Lit, PMS Poem Memoir Story, Lilith Magazine, The Mom Egg, Bridges, and Poetica Magazine. She won third prize in the Anna Davidson Rosenberg Poetry Contest through Poetica Magazine in 2017. The poem you're about to hear first appeared in Ekphrasis, a journal of transformative verse. In the Guest Room of Casa Azul by Sarah Antine. You waited for him, leaning against the blue wall in the framed portrait you painted for the communist you and Diego extradited from Russia like valuable mail, removed him from the tomb under Stalin's mustache. Diego exchanged a look, not with you, but with his latest model, so you flung your thorny arms around Trotsky's neck and he was flattered into removing his tie and jacket. But when Diego called you, like a dog, you ran back inside before the screen slammed shut. And Trotsky, left wingless, walked into his coffin. You stand broken-stemmed in a clear vase between white curtains, growing roses through your hair like fireworks sizzling, your brow the black bird in every painting flying toward or away from grief. You conduct a choir of peasants, their rust faces and yellow hoods marching eternally through a pattern woven into your shawl. Your portraits are many daughters hidden in the folds of your arms. The way you give offers a uterus, whips up a tornado. At the end of your pink longing, white lace, sea foam, stage curtains, tied open, gone to seed, dandelions with heads hung. And lastly, Jane Frank. Jane's latest chapbook is Wide River, Calante Press 2020. Her work has most recently appeared in the Blue Nib, Stylus Lit, Grieve from Hunter Writers Center 2020, The Poets Republic, and Cicerone Journal. Poems are also forthcoming in Meridian and Other Terrain Journal. In 2020, she was shortlisted for both the Thomas Shapcott and Wigtown Poetry Prizes, and in 2019 was joint winner of the Philip Bacon Ekphrasis Award. La Casa Azul by Jane Frank, after photographs of Frida Kahlo in her garden. Born from prickly pear, I am. My seeds were cobalt, cacti mixed with yucca, agave, canna lily, the bougainvillea crown of deep thorny pink from which pain sprouted. Selfies grew from blackbird brows, rouged skin bled into terracotta, mustard, leaf green dappled basalt walls, and slabs of raw volcanic rock that make up a central courtyard surrounded by rooms of me, my eyes weeping shells, mosaics that spell my name in a kitchen of turgid fruits. The glass ceiling makes sense of my brokenness. My bathroom, a cell of fashionista loot, red leather boot with leg, bows, bells, lace resplendors, embroidered Chinese silks, cool Tijuana huipils, and agua underskirts peaking polka dots. My gallery of ex-votos, the reruns of tragedy, on trolley buses that crawl like tin creepers over textured walls, while those painted corsets of misery sit propped in folk art corners. My library of botany, tiny bouquets pressed in chartreuse leaves, a domestic oasis of portraits, plants, people, parrots, spider monkeys, scaling the pyramid or my shoulder, my deer, my pack of dogs cavorting among pomegranate boughs and succulents, my meandering pathways of paint, the comfort and pain of home and his betrayal mixed plein air. The white crocheted bed where I assign the colors, soaring Aztec pink, green sadness, yellow madness, cut red melon death flesh, that sweet electricity of my deep blue tender fire. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this episode, please find us on social media and give us a thumbs up or a little heart and share us with your friends. Also, please let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. Our email is tercetspod@gmail.com. We'd like to thank all of the writers and artists featured in today's podcast and every day at the Ekphrastic Review. And finally, the theme music for Tercets is by Jadadi, and the other music you heard in this episode was from the Field Trips, the Kokusai Bunka Shinkokai, and Adam and Alma. Until next time, stay inspired. The white crocheted bed where I assigned the color. Bleh. Soaring Aztec pink, green sadness, yellow madness, cut Relin. Jane's latest chapbook is Wide River, Calante Press 2020. Her most book. I want a most book. Okay. Her work has most recently appeared. What is wrong with me today? My dear, my pack of dogs cavorting among pomegranates, boughs, not balls. Trees don't have balls. Oops. And lastly, no, that's not good either. And lastly, Jane Frank. All right, here we go.